Before we get started, I just want to say, quarter brick, half a brick, no brick. Hey! I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be getting into the brick jokes too soon. Y'all's girl Brickgate Bay got some charges put on her and we need to go all into it. I'm your host, Cool Colas, and you are now tuning into a new video on my channel. So let's go ahead and get into it. For those of you all who are unaware, I wanted to give you all a little bit of a backstory so you kind of understood what was happening, especially if you're not up to date on why I'm using the term Brickgate Bay and how all of that went. So there was a woman 2 years ago named Roda Osman, and she made a video where she was visibly upset and she claimed to be injured as well too. And she stated that she was hit in the face by a black man with a brick. And she was hit with a brick because she refused to give this black man her number. She used this video to try to turn it into somewhat of a systemic thing where she made the claim that black men abuse black women and we also do not protect them. So this is something that started off as her just talking about how she was attacked, and she used that video to turn it into something much bigger. And it even led to this unnecessary manhunt of black men as a result of what she put out there. She even received enormous support from black women and some black men as well too. And a lot of these black men who were doing this were sitting there simping, of course, and a lot of the black women who were doing it were usually projecting and also conflating their poor choices in dating with what was happening with Roda's story. Not only did she receive support verbally and from videos and content that people put on social media, she also received financial support as well too, because she crowdfunded over $40,000. And I looked at that and I'm like, damn, like she crowdfunded a teacher's salary from Crying Wolf. It wasn't like she was doing anything constructive with the money. I mean, she was over there taking expensive vacations and living the lavish life when she got all that bread. And I even saw a lot of people, even family members that is, who were in there caping for this woman as well too, talking about, to see what black women have to go through and while they're being abused by black men. And what's funny is some of the women who were saying this were black women who were married to black men. The problem is that some of this revealed that there is an undercurrent of misandry that some of these black women have with black men. I looked at the situation for what it was though. She tried to pull foundational black American men into a conversation that we had absolutely nothing to do with. And to be honest with you, this kind of goes back to my issue with what I've talked about, which is the one big Negro effect. You start attributing certain behaviors to certain cultures that just typically aren't there. With foundational black American men, we aren't known for going around smacking broads in the face with a brick if we can't get the digits. That's just not something that we do. That's not to say that there aren't dusties or people who got some issues who are out there abusing women and not being able to take no for an answer and being betas. But it's just to say that this is just not the typical behavior of a foundational black American male. And then the other thing I thought about too is I found out that this chick is Somalian. This is a case of someone who is non-FBA conflating the behaviors of that culture, what they are showing of that culture, to the behaviors of foundational black American men, which just aren't the same. And to be quite honest, after hearing all this and on that premise alone, I just simply did not believe her. And even in this instance, I'm going to take a second to defend non-FBA men. They didn't even have anything to do with this. Non-foundational black American men didn't even hit her with a brick because nobody hit her black ass with a brick. And to me, this is wrong on so many levels because it mocks the pain of real victims and what they actually go through. So now black women could sit around and say that they've been abused by black men, and there's some people who just simply aren't going to believe them, although they deserve help and protection. So what she did was a disservice to black women by just being a straight up damn liar. It's also wrong when it comes to black men as well too. As a matter of fact, the man who she accused of the crime, Olan Douglas, actually was featured in a video talking about how it had affected him. And to be honest, her doing this could have gotten him harmed, ruined his life, or maybe even unalived. And this is bad for black men in general because once a woman, or anybody for that matter, labels that man, especially if you're a black man, as either a rapist or a abuser, like some type of abuser of a woman, that automatically just tarnishes anything they do and their livelihood and their future success as well too. It actually hinders how far their potential can actually go. So when they're given that label, when it's unjust, that is, it's a huge crime that that man is going to have a hard time getting rid of. And to be quite honest with you, it doesn't even matter if he didn't even do it. It's still going to be a smear campaign that's going to hurt his success. You know, and I would say that it works the same way as a white person being labeled racist for actually being racist, but it really doesn't. I mean, look what they did with that Gollum looking ass hag who called a black baby the hard ER. She got rich from being a male supremacist. Going back to the Brickgate Bay situation, she's doing what a lot of tethers do, which is pulling the moral licensing card. For those of you all who do not know what moral licensing is, it's a fallacy that people do when they initially do something that's evil, immoral, unjust, or just manipulative, downright scandalous. And then they try to turn around and do something that's morally good or just or positive in order to cover up the thing that they initially did that was shitty. So she's trying to pull this. And the reason why I believe this is because I had a chance to take a look at her platform. And one of the things that I noticed is that she's trying to create this pro-black brand where she talks about black empowerment and black unity. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, ain't that about a bitch? That's kind of ironic that she would sit there and she would spark up a gender war and then talk about black unity on her profile. And do you know that had we not caught that ass scheming, she would have tried to credentialize, solidify, and certify herself as a pro-black academic guru. And I'm going to tell y'all what I mean by that. Brother Torrin Walker, who does a lot of great research and work on anti-black misandry, uncovered some things about where her life was actually going. This is a woman who already had her master's degree in English, and she was going after her PhD. As a matter of fact, she was a PhD candidate. And I want to actually go and kind of show you all some of the work that she was doing and kind of where this was going. If you look at the picture, it shows that her interests were black feminist theory, ethnography, urban social movements, black diasporic studies, decolonial studies, cultural studies, race, and gender studies. And this is also what it says for her biography. Miss Osman's research follows Somali diasporic women in Minnesota and their activism work to prevent the demolition of public housing and the potential of a second displacement of the Somali community within 30 years. Roda is now working on a book, Be a Mountain, a cultural reflection between one kitchen table, which speaks to the conflicts between first-generation American children and their relationship with their parents using her own personal story with her mother. And it says here that she's a PhD student who also has a master's of science at Columbia University and a bachelor's in English at Southern New Hampshire University. And this goes back to what I and Torrin Walker have said multiple times when it comes to a lot of these shea butter sambas, because that's what this bitch is. They'll go and they'll try to certify themselves with some type of academic accolade. Or they'll try to even get some type of profession where they can actually use their job, their credentials, or whatever skills they have to actually harm black men or black people. And if we as black men go back and talk about how we don't trust these types of individuals, we'll get met with a lot of academia babble where they're trying to make it seem like this individual is a scholar, somebody who has studied, somebody who is certified. So us arguing back against this person is our opinion and our feelings being hurt, and also us being narcissistic versus somebody who is an actual intelligent scholar, and we're trying to keep a black woman down. So I want to make it clear that we stopped some shit at its tracks before it actually got worse. It's no different than when you have these little mammy therapists who will go around and will be disrespectful and shaming black men and talking cash shit about them, and then turning around and saying that they're a clinician who was hired and certified and all this other stuff, and they know that there's a problem with black men. They can go around, they can talk cash shit about them because they're certified as a therapist. So it allows them to actually professionally harm us in what they do. This goes back to what I told you all about shea butter sambas. I told you all in some instances you'll have shea butter sambas who are actually tethers. And they're women who have some type of issues and tribalistic beefs with the men in their culture because they've been abusive, and they'll bring that shit over here to the United States. And what a lot of them will do is they will actually allow the dominant society to give them opportunities. And then while they're within these different spaces, they'll actually use that to harm the men who they have issues with. And in this case, that would be black men, because they just going to love on white men. Let's just be real. And the truth of the matter is they also kind of pull on what shea butter sambas do from a general standpoint. As I told y'all before, shea butter sambas hate racism. But the reason why they hate racism isn't because they want it to end for all people. They just want it to end for them. They want to find comfort in white supremacy and opportunities within white supremacy, even if that means that those same opportunities and that same racist hate could still happen to their black male counterparts. And they'll even be an aid in making it happen in some cases. And to be quite honest with y'all, I've seen Roda Osman, and she really ain't all that, y'all. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, she got a booty out of this world. I mean, woo. But she kind of looks like a mutated chocolate goose in the face. My point in saying everything I'm saying is that I've been on Roda's bumper since day one, y'all. I've really been on her case, making videos and posts on Instagram about this and talking about how much I did not believe her and how I believed that there was a lot of stuff that was much deeper with this situation that wasn't being said, and there was a scheme that was taking place. I mean, I was literally on her like Freddie was on Red Herring in a pup named Scooby-Doo. I was on her ass like Kaiba was on Joey Wheeler in Yu-Gi-Oh! I was on her ass like Jim Gordon was on the Mad Hatter in Gotham. I was on her ass like Pink Book Lessons was on that damn Dalton Mirror that she made 10 videos about sass. I made somewhere around 3 to 4 videos, reels, whatever you want to call it, on Instagram where I talked about this issue. And the first one that I made was on September the 8th of 2023. And in this post, I talked about how I didn't believe her to begin with. And this goofy Negroid got on there trying to talk about how she was bringing up a systemic problem that black women face when it comes to experiencing abuse at the hands of black men. And he was in there trying to argue and debate with me and a bunch of other people in the comments and all types of shit. And yeah, it was a shit show to begin with. I want to be real. I sat there and I read that comment and I'm sitting there thinking, dude, like, you're not about to get any pussy just for simping just because. I mean, she can't even read your comment. You're not going to get any Brickgate buns, okay? So you just need to just chill the hell out. The thing is, y'all, this is a woman who is a known troublemaker. And for her to sit there and cry about protection, that shit is just weird. Because here's the thing. When it comes to her asking for protection, most likely if a dude did protect her, it would be a situation where she started some shit, this dude tried to run up on her, and then in the process of that black man stepping in and trying to protect her, he probably could get himself hurt or killed. Because that's what happens a lot of times. When you have these chicks who are sassy, loudmouth, and abrasive, like Brickgate Bay, they can get other black men killed because of the fact that they're starting shit with dudes who they have no business engaging with in the first place. So this was dangerous. And it was also dangerous because she did all this in the name of scamming some people. Because she went from being this loud, abrasive chick to being the damsel in distress, and then going back to being a loud, abrasive chick. Here's the thing, y'all. She wasn't just being antagonistic to black men. She was also being antagonistic to black women, because not too long after that situation happened, she was talking about how she got attacked by 2 black women who were in their 40s. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the situation and I'm like, foundational black American women who are in their 40s are not thinking about attacking a random Somalian woman. And to be quite honest with you, the only way that this would even happen is if we got some kind of random hood rat who was in a space where this is a typical thing that she does. But that would be a total fucking anomaly because that's just not how our people behave. So she's now making up stories to blame black women for her abuse as well too. So she ended up talking about them. If nothing that I'm saying today convinces you that she is a liar, a scammer, and a manipulative thief, then you should also see too that there was a video that she posted where she admitted that she lies to men and she laughed about it. This is a woman who now is almost being mocking and joking about the fact that she's someone who is willing to be a liar and someone that should not be believed. She thinks that this shit is funny and this shit is cool. Speaking of black women who have been antagonized by this woman, I want to quickly talk about the Queen of Accountability, whose name is also Daphne Sutton. This is a woman who has been staying on her ass. And shout out to this queen because she really has been doing a lot of work to try to get Brickgate Bay some charges because of everything that she's done. And also too, just so you all know, she does a lot when it comes to the black man's mental health because she understands the things that a lot of us as black men have been through and continue to go through. And she is a strong advocate for us. So if you have not checked out her channel, you're definitely going to want to, especially being a black man and needing to feel that there is still that love, care, and desire from black women to basically want to see us basically protected and treated the way that we deserve to be treated. And the great thing about Daphne is that she had receipts on the things that Brickgate Bay was doing. Because this was a woman who was literally stalking, harassing, and threatening her on a regular basis. And she even had the courage to, in her court hearing, testify against this woman after everything that she had done, not just to her, but to black men from her scams and her scheming and all the stuff that has went down. And even if you go to one of her videos on YouTube, she actually talks about how one of Brickgate Bay's previous friends actually talked about how she was there when, she had done this scamming and whatnot, and she hadn't really reported it or said anything. And the thing is, had she probably reported it that first time, then chances are that we wouldn't have got a second time or all of the stuff that we're seeing now, or her basically just playing in our faces after everything that she's done and the way that she schemed people out of money and the way that she talked greasy about black men and incited a gender war. This wouldn't even be a thing. But I kind of know how it is. There's a lot of black women, or a lot of women in general, I'll say, that will literally protect their friends even when they're doing something that they know is actually wrong. I just want to remind y'all just real quick. This situation I'm talking about is not the first time that Roda has actually done scheming. There was another situation where she claimed that she was attacked by private security while she was in Minneapolis. And this was back in 2020. And at that time, she was gunning for $5,000. So she actually got, a scheming situation set up before we even seen what happened with the brick incident. And I look at the situation and I'm like, that's a lot of instances where this woman is talking about how she's getting attacked by multiple people, be it black men or black women. And I'm like, there's a pattern here. There's definitely something here that's showing that you were doing things to either cause these things to happen or you're just making this shit totally up. And I don't want this statement to make it seem like there aren't people who just do get attacked by people while they're out and about and minding their own business, because this does happen. I mean, after all, we do have these male supremacist Karens and Kens who will go out here and get black people unalived by these race soldiers. So we already know that this is a thing. But in her case, she is saying all of these things because she's trying to run some schemes. But because of, again, the Queen of Accountability's work, and also the brother in Houston who was a prosecutor, and other people who were doing their due diligence to try to take Brickgate Bay down for what she had done, because she had already had like a previous thing where they were going to charge her with something back in 2024. But there finally were official charges that were put on this woman for what she had done. And the charges included the following: 90 days in jail, inpatient substance abuse treatment because she was smoking weed and doing some other shit, full restitution of $42,302, 10 years probation, and a 10-year social media ban. And if she violates that social media ban just one time, they're going to put her in prison for 10 years. To me, that's kind of light, but at least some justice was served to a certain extent. As a matter of fact, the heaviest thing that she's probably going to feel is that 10-year social media ban. Because now she can't get on social media and start flexing the money that she scammed from people and twerking her ass for some samosas. Because I'll tell you one thing, I'm sure when she saw those charges, she went from eating bricks to shitting bricks. I just wanted to make sure I kept y'all abreast about what was happening with that situation and my thoughts, because I've spoken so much on this situation. And if you've been following me for a while on Instagram, you know that this is something that I've talked about multiple times. As I said before, the good thing that came from this situation was that we were able to stop this, and a lot of other people did work to bring awareness to it and talk about it before it became something much deeper. That being that she was this certified academic guru who could be a spokesperson for Black empowerment and Black unity. And we were able to uncover her for what she was: a scammer and a hypocrite trying to rebrand herself into something that she absolutely was not. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I definitely will have more to come in the future, so make sure you stay tuned. In the meantime, I would love it if you liked this video, subscribed, shared, and also hit the bell icon so you get notifications for whenever I come out with new content on this channel. And in the meantime, I would love it if you left me a comment below. That way I can get back to whatever it is that you had to say about this topic. Other than that, I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, y'all.